lot of questions being brought up on whether or not this type of behavior is ever really excusable and if this means the end of Red Velvet. Hi, welcome to an episode of K-pop Investigations. My name is Angelina, and this is basically a series where I take a subject and do a little bit of a deep dive into it. And a few days ago, I updated you guys about Irene's entire situation, about the accusations made towards her, her own apology, and some statement in regards to that. However, since then, there have been so many rumors that have come up, so many statements from other people that have come up, and even an update to the story from the person who originally accused Irene of these things. And I've also seemingly found a little bit of proof that kind of shows that some of these rumors are not true, and looked into some of this stuff myself as a proper K-pop journalist, so I thought we could give a little bit of an update today. But before we get started, please don't forget to interact with this video before YouTube forgets I exist and I fall off the face of the earth. You know, I think of it this way: I have about 15 channel members, and if we consider how many people there are in this world, that's a lot of people without a Kevin emoji next to their name, and that's kind of sad. So like, comment, share this video with friends you don't have, and you can click that join button next to the subscribe button to become a channel member. Okay, so we're going to start off with a little recap of what has happened so far. Basically, an editor who has been in the industry for 15 years came forward and made a post on Instagram expressing that they had an encounter with an unnamed female idol. And this idol was unfortunately known for being rude. And upon meeting this idol, this editor was essentially in a situation where they ended up crying. Now, the editor in question didn't mention anyone by name, but she did end up using at the end of her post hashtags monster and hashtag psycho. And since fans had noticed that this editor had deleted posts in regards to Irene and Seulgi previously, a lot of people had come to the conclusion that it was indeed Irene. And we explained this in the last video, why a lot of people don't come forward with names specifically, like this idol did this, because the defamation laws in Korea are a lot stricter. So even if you say something true about someone, you could get sued for defamation. Since a lot of people thought that it was Irene, the internet was kind of going into a frenzy. You know, a lot of people saying it cannot be her because she's so nice, and showcasing a lot of things she's done in the past that would portray a really good character, while a lot of people were kind of pointing to the fact that they were expecting this all along. Both of which are not accurate representations of someone's true character. As we also expressed in the last video, you can be nice to some people and then totally mean to other people. You can buy people things and still in that same breath be mean to someone. However, we saw that Irene admitted to this and left an apology over on her Instagram, and then quickly after, SM Entertainment confirmed that she met with the editor personally to apologize, and they expressed their apologies as well. And that is basically where we ended the last video. But again, since then, we've heard a lot of rumors and a lot of questions being brought up on whether or not this type of behavior is ever really excusable, and if this means the end of Red Velvet, or what does this mean for Red Velvet's future? So right off the bat, what we do know for certain is that she has admitted to acting immaturely throughout her career. But a lot of people are wondering, what could really push someone to act in such a way? And is there really any valid excuse? From the comments I read, it's definitely a very polarizing topic. On one hand, we have people who think, you know, she's just human, she just had a bad day, you know, we should be forgiving of something like this. While on the other hand, people are saying, you know, this is an abuse of power, this is in no way excusable behavior. But of course, a lot of fans don't want to believe that Irene is inherently a bad person. So in light of that, I did want to take a look into some of these rumors that fans have come up with and see if they're really credible or not. So the first thing people have been bringing up as to why her behavior would be excusable is a performance from the 2020 Gangnam Festival. Now in this performance, if you look really closely, you can see that her mic pack fell off really close to the beginning of the performance, and you can see she's kind of holding it. Now a lot of people are saying that this editor slash stylist was in charge of sewing this mic pack on, and so the fact that it fell off must have been really annoying for her, since they would want to do their best on stage, and that would be difficult if they have to hold their mic pack. So for fans, given this lack of professionalism, it would merit her getting angry at this stylist because they should have done their job right. So if we take a look into this video, from the beginning of the performance, there's something wrong with her mic pack. Now it's unclear whether it fell off or she took it off herself due to technical difficulties, but you can definitely see her wrapping setting up the mic pack herself, and then eventually she throws it away. Alongside this rumor, we also have people saying that her earpiece kept electrocuting her, that she was forced to change outfits right before going on stage, and all of these inconveniences show a lack of professionalism towards the stylist and that she had reason to get annoyed. Now, obviously, there's no way I can confirm that she was actually getting electrocuted, and I don't really know where this comes from. But even if she was getting electrocuted, I don't understand how that would be an editor/stylist's problem. And I don't fully understand this person's role, you know. It seems she is a stylist/editor in charge of visual direction, and we'll get into the context of that a little bit later. But my point is, it doesn't really add up, especially since the editor later clarifies which dates she actually worked with Irene, which was October 20th, while the Gangnam Festival was on October 18th. So in my opinion, this rumor does seem improbable. It seems very improbable that this editor/stylist/visual director was in charge of Irene's earpiece electrocuting her, was actually in charge of sewing on the mic pack, and was in charge of outfit changes when they technically didn't work together that day. So another rumor we've been seeing a lot is that this editor is actually a male editor and is well known in the industry for stirring shit up, especially with FX in the past. But that doesn't seem to be the case. As far as I'm concerned, the editor is not a male, and even searching up her name next to FX, there's really nothing I could find. Moving on to the next rumor, which claim a lot of people in the industry liked the original post. Now again, the original post is deleted, so there's really no way that I can personally go and confirm who exactly liked the specific post. But I also have a lot of people showing me, you know, ex-worker from SM says that Irene really isn't that bad, that people are also defending her in the same breath. But it's important to note that the only confirmation we have from SM and Irene is vague in terms of who specifically was affected by her quote-unquote immature behavior. The last rumor I heard a lot is that the editor actually had a voice recording of Irene yelling at her. But I don't think that was actually confirmed by anyone, but this did bring up a lot of questions for fans. You know, a lot of people saying, like, how could you know that you would need to record someone? So there's definitely a lot of people who think that Irene was actually set up, that someone was paid to set her up in this way to ruin her image. But again, I actually still can't find actual proof or confirmation of a voice recording. So there are plenty of rumors going afoot, you know, just as much as there are people coming forward saying that she was a pain to work with, there are still people saying, you know, that she wasn't a pain to work with. But what we do know, what was confirmed by all three parties, is that Irene acted immaturely throughout her career, and she apologized, and that apology was accepted. In fact, the editor who made the original accusations released a very lengthy post updating everyone. She explains that she wanted to receive an apology directly from Irene, which is why she made the post to begin with. After I uploaded the first post, the reason I didn't take any action was because I had to make a very rational and clear judgment at every moment as expected in this kind of situation. The biggest reason was that I didn't want to create a bigger misunderstanding, and I didn't want to feed into any baseless speculations or chaos. She goes on to say that after the incident, she wanted an apology, and she ended up getting that apology, and she thought that could be it. She then goes on to clarify her role in the initial situation that was presented by her. I was never a stylist for Person C's group, and I am someone who is outsourced to style for a filming schedule on October 20th, Tuesday, as a one-day stylist. The first time I was asked about the schedule was October 5th, and after I received the official information on October 6th, I prepared as per the request of the company B and the group C in just 15 days afterwards. She also explains that this incident didn't only happen to her, but a junior editor as well and an assistant. For that reason, the two accompanied me to the meeting for the apology, talked with those responsible in company B and Person C, and each of them received an apology from Person C. So quite obviously, we already know how K-pop fans are. She received a lot of backlash for bringing this forward. And she expresses that she didn't feel the need to address any of the hate directed towards her because her goals were met. She wanted Irene to take a step back, acknowledge the way she was acting, stop acting that way, and apologize for having acted that way. She also acknowledges some of the rumors that were made, going on to say there was no monetary negotiations. I'm just waiting for the pay and fees to be cleared from the October 20 one-day schedule I worked on. In yesterday's meeting, the word negotiation didn't even come up. It was a meeting for an apology, not for negotiations. She continues on by saying this is the last that she will speak of this. I have lived giving my best at whatever work was given to me, sticking with the work ethics I believe. I'm living and making mistakes as well, and I would be a bad person to some and a good person to others. That is the same for person C as well. For this incident, I cannot say this was just a personal incident. This was an action I took to protect the bare minimum of dignity and recover from the personal humiliation for myself and every colleague that has had the same experience as I have until now. And she expresses again that she's not going to take any further action with this and that she hopes that Irene's fans will stop crossing the line. Having expected that this could get to such a level, she knows that she can't do anything about it, but she ends off by saying, from my side, I had no choice but to write this. I personally give my sincere apologies to the Company B staff for making things troublesome for you. Lastly, I sincerely make this request to those reading this post. I hope you can stop with all the speculation posts and article that will only end up as bigger scars and harm everyone. Thank you. So that is that for the editor. For her, the situation should end at this. But with that, I did want to point out how the editor herself expresses that she could be viewed as a good person by some and then a bad person by others, and the same could be applied to Irene as well. And that's very true, which is why I feel the need to reiterate the point from my first video, that we don't need to make excuses for Irene. You know, she is a grown woman. We don't absolutely have to bring age into this, but she is an adult and she has taken responsibility for her actions. Now, whether or not the public is receptive to that is a different question. However, we can hold idols accountable. We can hold people we love accountable without the intention of wanting to see them fall or wanting to see them ruined or having to send them hate. However, this is definitely not the end of it for Red Velvet or even fans of Red Velvet or antis of Red Velvet. Because now people are starting to wonder, you know, what does this mean for the group? Is this the end of the group? Is there a possibility that they could get through this? We've seen in the news that Red Velvet are actually no longer participating in a fan meet for the 2020 Korean Culture Festival, which would have been scheduled for today. As much as we see people defending her, we of course see a lot of people turning their backs on her as well. If this really is a reoccurring issue with her, obviously people would have been seeing her in a way that wasn't reflective of reality. And that is a lesson you guys need to carry with everything related to K-pop, to idolizing anyone in the public eye. We do not know who our idols are. They could present themselves as the nicest people possible. I mean, you have to, even if you're the meanest person in the world, who is gonna stand behind you and support you if you're actually super, super mean? And again, in the news, we're also seeing reports that some of her brand partnerships are removing pictures of her from their websites. For example, for the brand Clinique, we see that her pictures are seemingly no longer available on certain websites, but then her pictures are still available on their Instagram page, so it's a little bit unclear what's going on with that. But we definitely have people on both sides, you know, fans who are like, if you don't remove her, I'm boycotting the brand, or people saying, if you do remove her, I will boycott the brand. So it definitely speaks volumes to the different ways people are perceiving this, which is something I wanted to bring up because it seems that a lot of international fans might not actually understand how big this is in Korea or how badly this is viewed in Korea. You know, as mentioned earlier, a fan meet was canceled. Some brand partnerships actually might be in jeopardy. We see a lot of people turning their backs on Irene, and this could be due to something called Gapjil in South Korea. One comment reading, Korea is especially sensitive about Gapjil, bully culture. Generally, the super rich, higher powers act of arrogance and dominance over those in lower positions, to the point that they have canceled power asserting owners of companies by sending them to jail or boycotting their businesses. And then they go up to bring up an example of Korean Air. Now, this is referred to as the nut rage incidents or Nutgate. So the story goes as follows. There was this woman on a plane, and the intricacies behind her family dynamic and family history is actually really interesting, so I'll leave that linked below if you want more a context to this. And essentially, she was served nuts in a bag, and she was so angry about that because she wanted her nuts to be served to her in a little bowl. And she got so mad at the situation that she assaulted a staff member and basically stopped the airplane, kicking the staff member off of the plane. And she actually did some time in prison for this. And this comment goes on to explain, Koreans are not hesitant to ostracize arrogant, disrespectful individuals from society. Gapjil is still prominent in ordinary Korean working life between employers' employees and employees' customers. So if a public figure is seen doing this, they are immediately cancelled and their reputation basically hits rock bottom. And there are even laws in regards to this in South Korea. So I'll leave some resources down below, but I wanted to highlight that to kind of give you a better insight because I think a lot of international fans might not quite understand why it is such a big deal, which have led a lot of fans to think that maybe Red Velvet would disband because of this, or at least go on a very long hiatus given how badly this is seen. Because of course, now that this has been brought to light, people are going to inevitably dig into her past, dig into every comment that anyone has ever made about her, look into every single video that has ever been taken of her, and making assumptions of maybe this is what it actually meant when at the time we thought it was something else. And of course, we do see people demanding that she leaves Red Velvet. So I have no doubt that this has gotten a lot bigger than even I had anticipated when I made my first video. And so with all this information, I want to ask you, what do you think is the limit for having a bad day? Do you think any of this type of behavior is excusable? And I'm asking this because I've read my comment section on the last video and there's really no consensus. And I also want to add on to that, do you think Red Velvet can survive this? What do you think the future of Red Velvet looks like, especially since they were already performing as four? So definitely let me know in the comments down below. As for me, that is basically it for this video. Thank you so much if you made it to this point. My watch time thanks you. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with friends you don't have. You can also follow me on Instagram or join my channel members. Just click on that join button next to the subscribe button. These are the lovely individuals who help support my channel on a monthly basis. Thank you so much for your support. As for me, I'm gonna get going, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye!